Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth from Elpis Astrology at elpisastrology.com. So today I am going to give an overview of how I see the astrology playing out in 2026. What I'm going to do is go through each of the months and pick out some of the things that I think really stand out for me, and also tell you if this month is more significant than, say, others. There are a few months this year that stand out more than other months for sure. And then I'm going to look at just using the outer planets, so that's going to be from Jupiter to Pluto, and whatever sign they're in 2026, to really look at then your sign and perhaps the influence that it may have on your sign to sort of better differentiate, the question, well, what signs are going to be affected by the astrology in 2026? So I'll do that in the latter part after I've gone through each of the months in 2026 and more the high level of what's going on in the astrology. Now, I will each month in 2026 go through more detail. So don't expect everything that's going to happen in the month I'm talking about to be brought up astrologically. I'm just sticking to the high level. All right, let's start. So when we look at January, on the surface, it doesn't seem like there is much happening there, but I was really struck by the 0 degrees of Aquarius for January 2026. And why is that? Because we have a lot of planets that will be at that degree. And not only will they be at that degree, each of those planets will go on to conjunct Pluto, all in the month of January. And this says to me, just from like a simple look at it, big transformation that is going to be happening in the month of January, especially the latter part of January. Big, huge changes and transformations, especially transformations of those who are in power. Now we're looking at the world stage here. So when we look at the planets that I just mentioned, we start off with Venus at 0 degrees. Then we have a Kazimi of both the Sun and Mercury at 0 degrees. Then we go on to have Mars at 0 degrees. All these planets and the luminary, the Sun, go on to conjunct Pluto at 3 degrees of Aquarius. So, as I mentioned, January is going to be a standout, especially the latter half. I think a big changes of people in power, whether they leave, voluntarily or they are ousted. That's about to happen. When we look at February, there's 2 kind of astro events that stood out for me that are significant. And one is there's an eclipse, a new moon eclipse that's going to happen at 28 degrees of Aquarius on the 17th of February. But that's going to be quickly followed up by a big conjunction of Saturn and Neptune exact at 0 degrees and 44 minutes on the 20th of February. So this now puts certainly Saturn and Neptune now in Aries, right, for some years to come. So with both these events happening so close together, even though they're in different signs and different degrees, it tells me that there's also a big change here for movement forward and freedom from what has held us back. So the eclipse speaks to a new start with regards to Aquarius things. Now you do have to have something around that 28 degrees of Aquarius to have the effect of this eclipse, or the opposite sign, 28 degrees of Leo. But for those that do have something, this eclipse in February, along with the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune, could be a big turning point or a big door opens for you to get on your personal path. Now, Aries is all about me, me, me. I want to do it my way. What is it that they want to do your way? I want my hopes, dreams, and wishes to come true here. But I want mine to come through, and that's what I'm going to be pursuing and putting effort into. That's the Saturn part. This is just a general view here is what I'm looking at. Now, when we look at March, we have on the 3rd of March, a second eclipse. That's going to be a total full moon eclipse at 13 degrees of Virgo. Again, you need to look at, do you have something around 13 degrees of Virgo? Or I look at the opposite sign, which is Pisces, 13 degrees of Pisces, for it to have an effect. A total full moon eclipse is significant. Something in March is going to happen with regards to, I'm thinking, important facts and information are going to be revealed. There may be also important facts and information come out about our health. In April, we will finally, towards the end of April, have Uranus going into Gemini for a number of years. That's actually going to be officially on the 27th of April. Really freeing up, just freeing us up. That's what I'm thinking here. It's almost like, and I associate that Uranus with Gemini. It's like freedom to speak what we want to say, to write what we want to say, is going to become a cry for those in the world. They're going to exercise that freedom of speech. Maybe we are even going to have some new legislation brought in that supports that. But the other thing, of course, is anything to do with Uranus and Gemini. Could be anything to do with our electronic media of any sort, AI, any association with that, or just communications, generally speaking, could take on some kind of new way of doing that communication. Also in April, we will have Mars that's going to be in Aries, conjunct Saturn and Neptune. And so this could be powerful too, where a conjunction is, a powerful energy of two energies coming together, but in this case, three energies. And Mars can be very explosive. It can be very aggressive, very assertive. But it can also push things forward. And certainly in Aries, it says, let's take on a new path here. Let's take on a new path to inspire ourselves of what we want to put effort into. What dreams do we want to put effort into? What effort do we want to put into our hopes? This can also be a time of literally an explosion of information that's been held back up to now, that is revealed. Now, Saturn will also sextile Pluto. Remember, Saturn is in Aries at this time at 5 degrees. So certainly if you have something around the 5-degree mark of Aquarius and or Aries, this could also be a significant time of an opportunity to transform structures or where you put your effort or where you work. In May, we have again that Mars, which will be now in Taurus, squaring Pluto at 5 degrees. So for those folks that in April had that sextile happening, positive sextile opportunity, this could now in May have a little challenge for you, where maybe they say, well, prove yourself. Doesn't mean you can't prove yourself, right? But on the world stage, that Mars and Pluto at a square is uncomfortable energy. And it's certainly a butting of heads. And it could be a butting of heads over land. I'm seeing that Taurus as land. Land is being fought over here. And maybe fought over through, messaging of some sort. That not necessarily through fighting, our literal fighting, but also this fighting over electronic words, people posting messages in that. But this could result in some aggressive takeover of those in power over someone else's land, just as a general theme. In June, we have a really nice setup of the two benefics. That would be Venus and Jupiter conjunct in Cancer. A great time to get married with that setup. A lovely time to meet a new love in your life, for sure. And a great time to come into some benefits, even money at this time, because Venus can represent that. Women could be very favorable and bestow compassion and nurturing on you at that time. In July, we're going to have Uranus trining Pluto at 4 degrees. Jupiter will go into Leo. The transiting north nodes will move to Aquarius with the south nodes in Leo. And Jupiter in Leo will trine Neptune in Aries. So July is standing out. That's a pretty big month here for some big changes, right? Big shifts of energy. The Uranus trine Pluto says release from those in power. This is world stage, of course. An unexpected positive change with those in power. If you have something at 4 degrees, Gemini and or Aquarius, this could affect you directly. And Jupiter going into Leo is beautiful, absolutely fabulous. It really speaks to, in my mind, royalty. There may be some kind of developments with regards to a change in royalty. And this could be any royalty, maybe more than one royalty throughout the world. But Jupiter in Leo certainly likes to get on the stage of life. There may be some significant actors come into prominence during the year that Jupiter is in Leo, starting in July. And certainly with those north nodes going into Aquarius. Well, for those folks that were born with their north nodes in Aquarius, this is your official start of your nodal return. For those that maybe have their north nodes in Leo, which is where the south nodes are, this is kind of like a reconsideration of looking at your destiny path. And those north nodes take about 18 months to travel through a sign. So starting in July for about 18 months, we have to look to those north nodes in Aquarius and see what they're doing with regards to either our chart or, as I said, if you've got your north nodes in Aquarius, this is a time of a positive readjustment to your destiny path. Now, August also stands out for a big month for me too. And there's a lot happening. We have 2 eclipses that happen in August and a number of other transits that are squares that can set up some potential challenges. When we look at an awesome eclipse, it is the first one, and that's going to be towards the end of the first week of August. That's a total new moon eclipse at 20 Leo. Man, if you've got something at 20 Leo or say 20 Aquarius, this could be a big door opening for you, is all I've got to say. And generally speaking, Leos are going to be favored in that month of August, either Leo suns or Leo ascendants. Of course, we're looking at that 20 degree mark as an optimal degree of Leo. Now, the other eclipse is going to be a full moon eclipse, really close to the 5 degrees of Pisces. So this certainly will affect Pisces that have something around that 5 degrees. It'll bring a culmination for you. And this is towards the end of August, or a big spotlight in wherever Pisces is in your chart. If Pisces is at 5 degrees of your ascendant, there's going to be some big change in your life. Now, it is an eclipse, and I always say, with caution, it doesn't mean something's going to end at a full moon eclipse. Sure, it can, and it'll be dramatic, but it can also mean something might start. These energies of eclipses can go either way, even if it's a new moon or a full moon. If it's your sun, something will be brought to light for you. Maybe something for those that have their sun at 5 degrees of Pisces, something regarding your health. This could be a positive thing or just a tap on the shoulder. Take care of this. We're going to have Mars. Again, Mars is featured here. Now in Cancer, we'll be squaring Neptune. And I really see this as deception. I see Mars squares, especially with Neptune, as deception. And I think the deception can come through someone who appears to be nurturing or appears to be compassionate is not. Now, this can also be, that Neptune could also, refer to the news, for instance, deceptive reporting through a homeland regarding news. The other thing we have is Venus, which will be in Libra, will square Saturn and Neptune in August. And this could refer to diplomatic relations are difficult at this time. We're trying to put effort and inspiration into maybe changing things diplomatically, but there's difficulties regarding it. So diplomatic matters could be challenging in that month of August. When we look at September, we have a beautiful Jupiter trine Saturn that can bring in, growth in any structure in our life. It can positively support new structure for, say, a foreign country or foreign nation. Now, Mercury is going to be in Libra at this time, and it will be squaring both Saturn and Neptune, but favorably, that Mercury would be trining Pluto. And so this is a combo energy of challenges with trying to put effort into being inspired, trying to put effort into our hopes, dreams, and wishes, but having a challenge there that it's not so easy, that we have to work with those in power to make it come true. Or when I looked at this setup, it said, grasp that brass ring. Recognize your power that you have with your voice. That's that Mercury, right? And challenge those that hold the rules and regulations. Challenge those that might want to dissolve some rules and regulations. You have the power. That's what this whole setup says to me in September. We also have Neptune sextiling Pluto. That's beautiful as well. Inspiration from those in power. In October, significantly, we have 2 retrogrades, both starting in Scorpio. So this features you, Scorpio, as a sign. Mercury and Venus will go retrograde in Scorpio in October. They both go direct, sort of mid-month in November, but Mercury will be going direct in Scorpio, but Venus will go direct at the tail end of Libra. So this could tie in the sign of Libra as well. I see this playing out as relationships on an individual basis, maybe starting new relationships, and that whole, activity that's involved in the relationships, but it could also have people coming back into your life at this time. It does feature Scorpio in particular, but it also brings in Libra as well. Now, when we look at the other things, we've got Mars in October is going to be in Leo, and it'll be trining both Saturn and Neptune. And so this could be, if we're talking about royalty again, this is royalty taking action to hand a crown over to another, a royal member of the family. That's what I see happening here. That's October. We have Venus in Scorpio. We'll be squaring Pluto. And I'm thinking that this may bring in, on the world stage, something where our money comes under some powerful transformation that is not going to be easy. Our money is providing a challenge to those in power. Maybe those in power are trying to hide money. With Scorpio involved here, if we just take Venus's money in Scorpio, it's hidden money, is that type of activity is undertaken by those in power, the Pluto part of it. Now, with that Mercury and Venus retrograde going on, be careful, because it's going to come out in November if you do that. And I'm thinking this is on a global stage, by the way. When we look at November, the big thing that's going to be happening, I've already mentioned, that's going to be that Mercury and Venus go direct at that time. So for those that are going through either new relationships or difficulties in a relationship, or a love coming back into their life they're not sure about, it'll all be cleared up in November. In December, we have Venus will be squaring Pluto. I think this relates back to the whole money and power thing. We have a Scorpio Mercury square Jupiter in Leo, and we also have Uranus trining Pluto. The Uranus trining Pluto is setting us free from people in power that maybe we don't have. So we're really looking at December as a change up of people in positions of power, probably happening very unexpectedly, but people are going to cheer about it. And that Mercury square Jupiter, could bring in some secrets revolving someone in the royal family. Now, you could generalize that whole Leo thing to anybody that's sort of in the public eye. But it's hidden information coming out. Probably, it's going to be on the world stage for sure. But hidden information that is going to come out. And I think this is about the royal family or a royal family member that was up until now hidden as well, or famous people. All right, that's my sort of mini take on 2026 astrology. If we look at some of the signs that will be directly affected, of course, you always have to look at your own chart to determine, whether or not you're going to be directly affected. But the big things that are going to happen are mainly with the outer planets, except for that Mercury and Venus going retrograde in Scorpio. So I'll just stick with that to begin with. So the Venus and Mercury retrograde in Scorpio in October will definitely feature Scorpios as a sign. But because that Venus goes direct in Libra, Libra could be brought into this equation too. I've already mentioned what this actually could be: relationships, new ones or old ones that you had from the past coming in. And maybe with the Scorpio element, some things were hidden, like say an old past love comes back in and reveals some important information that was hidden that you didn't know about. That sort of activity can happen to Scorpios as well as Librans. Well, we start with the first outer planet. Technically, we're looking at Jupiter. And the big change that's going to be happening around the 1st of July, 2026, is Jupiter will go into Leo for a whole year. Well, Leo, this features you. This features you in terms of your growth. It features you in terms of good luck, benefits coming in, beneficial people, beneficial teachers, advisors coming in at this time for you in a super positive way. Now, you'll have to look at the degree that Jupiter is at in your chart to determine maybe when this will happen. August is a huge, huge month for Leos, generally speaking. I will cover this in obviously more detail as the months, come by. But I'm just trying to give you some heads up as best I can. This is really a general standpoint. The eclipse that's happening in August is going to be at 20 degrees of Leo. So really, it's going to be those suns and or ascendants, or maybe even midheavens in people's charts that are around 28 degrees of Leo are going to be featured because it is a total new moon eclipse. But remember, we're going to have Jupiter and Leo at the same time. It's like it's like pot of gold for Leos in August, potentially. All right, so we've done Jupiter, and then we look at Saturn as well as Neptune, because although Saturn will go ahead of Neptune fairly quickly because it travels faster, both Saturn and Neptune will be in Aries. And so this features Aries. The best you can get from Saturn and Neptune together is your dreams coming true. But the other action that certainly Neptune can have on Saturn is dissolving things, dissolving structures. Now, for some Aries, it may be dissolving a structure that needs to be dissolved and reworked back into something else, and it's a positive thing. But at its best, Aries is going to have a chance here to make the dreams come true. When we move on and we look at Uranus, certainly by the end of April, Uranus will be fully entrenched at 0 degrees of Gemini and stay in there for some years to come. So this features you, Gemini, and it features you in the way of, maybe for the first time in your life, breaking free of a situation that you need to break free from. Now, the other thing that Uranus can bring in is sudden change, surprising change to your life, whether it's on your sun and or your ascendant. So expect big change, embrace change, and everything should be great for you, Gemini. Now, if we look at the opposite sign, which is going to be Sagittarius, Sagittarius will be looking at their partner having great change, whether it's a business partnership, a marriage partnership, or clients. That's where the change is going to be focused on for some years to come for you, Sagittarius. This could be a good thing. This could be, for some Sagittarius, an unexpected marriage partner coming your way of benefit. When we move on now to Pluto, Pluto is in Aquarius, and it will remain in Aquarius for almost 20 years, not quite. And so Aquarians are going to be very much affected by this transformational energy of Pluto. This is a once-in-a-lifetime energy because Pluto moves about every 250 years, it goes around the sun. This is a once-in-a-lifetime for you, Aquarius. Take advantage of the fact that Pluto wants to transform your life for the better. The key with Pluto in your sign is, either on your ascendant or your sun, is to be okay about letting things go, especially letting things go that are leaving your life anyway. Pluto could set up an energy where you want to hold on to things, but in reality, you know you have to let go of it. Letting go of it will bring you the transformation that you need. That's the setup here for you, Aquarius. Now, if we look at Leo, that's going to be for you, Leo, in your opposite sign. So that speaks to your partnership, business partnership or marriage partnership or clients going through some big major transformation, and you get to see it. All right, everybody, keep in touch with me. I will be putting up more details as we come through every month, sending everybody lots of positive energy for positive change. That's what I get for 2026. Positive energy for positive change. Let go of those things that need to be let go of, and embrace those things that make you feel positive and that inspire you. That's 2026. I wish you all the best. Take care. If you want your chart done, all my details are down below. Just contact me by email and we'll set something up for you. There's a price point probably for everybody. I try to do my best with that. So happy 2026 to everybody. Sending you lots of love, and bye for now.